What's the first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of it. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
Maintaining your beard isn't just style, it's self-respect. A well-grown beard boosts confidence and leaves a lasting impression. Elevate your look. Embrace the importance of beard care today. It's go time. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef Sunday. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Miss Chanel. There's the poet, Brown Sugar, King Talk TV, Law, Pink, me, myself, J.I. Welcome to Lapeef Sunday. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's good, brother? Good energy, good people. What's happening?
Another day in the paradise, man. Another day in the paradise.
Bless.
Good morning.
And we're going to get this housekeeping out the way. Shout out to the sponsor, T. Shanley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. You guys get 40% off. 40% off along with a free gift. You guys also get 20% off for life if you become a member. We also got a Sure Man King on top. This is for the beards. This is a Lapeef and Sugar Curls collab. That link is also pinned to the top of the chat. This is all your beard care needs, everything that you would need to reshape and redefine that beard. Go ahead and support. That being said, let's go ahead and hit the like button. Also make sure you subscribe to the channel. What's going on, Lady Di? Says the title is crazy. What? It just says interested to see what the women have to say. We do have some more people supposed to be popping in, but I had to go ahead and get the show started, seeing how it is football season. And we want to make sure we get people out in a timely fashion. What's going on with Dr. Steele? Says I have been hearing about women comparing marriage to prostitution. I'm not married, but I understand the difference going on. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Open Rank says, no, it's not such an ignorant, immature take on marriage. We're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to do an icebreaker just to kick the conversation off. What's going on? DJ, you there? Just doing a sound check.
I'm here.
Okay. All right.
Here I go.
All right. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see everybody.
All right.
Right on.
All right. So, I mean, periodically, I may put the time on as if we become long-winded. I just want to put the time on just to make sure we're able to bounce the conversation around. We got a smaller crew until other people come, so I don't foresee that happening. So also make sure we don't speak over each other so the audience can hear us and we can have a great show with great perspectives. How does that sound, folks? Yeah, I sound dry today, man.
What's up?
Yeah,
What's up? It's early.
I have
I'm warning y'all.
Shit, we
I
probably
faith in
should.
us. I have faith. Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
Yeah, maybe we should have took a shot of tequila, huh?
Oh, God damn. God damn.
Y'all trying
I'm done with tequila.
to get it cracking, huh?
Get it cracking early, man.
5 o'clock
Friday
somewhere.
night.
Yeah, but it's Sunday, man. We're gonna be pretty mild today. Anyhow, let me go get this icebreaker out the way. So, DDG, you guys familiar with him, right?
The young boy. Mhm.
Yeah, the young boy that's dating Haley. I guess they broke up. Had a child. Had a child. With so many comments, man, based off what he was saying, which is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip, and then I get into some of the comments they were saying, and then we'll go ahead and see how they do. What's going on, Miss Sham Monet? Do her grand entrance as usual.
Hi.
You sound dry too. I'll take your shot of tequila and then come back on cam. But anyhow, DGG gave some advice to
Yes.
young men, young black men in particular. So here was what he had to say.
Well, I would say was because it's past tense, obviously now, but y'all was definitely a cute couple. I feel like y'all had a great connection. But as your homie, you know, I told you this on the side.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, like, it's best for you to be single in these years of your life so you can really grind.
Yeah.
You know, it ain't nobody going nowhere. Bella ain't going nowhere. Unless a girl get a new nigga or something, but like Bella ain't going nowhere, Brooklyn ain't going nowhere, whatever, you know, whoever you like in this moment. But get your ducks in a row first and grind and not have no restriction. It's real restrictions when you're in a relationship.
Yeah,
It's like
definitely.
you gotta always consider their feelings.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't really work how you want to work.
Yeah.
And if I can tell myself something at age 22, I would tell myself not to get in a relationship because it's damn near like having a part-time job, bro.
Yeah.
You really have to apply a lot of time and effort. Like you might be doing videos all day and your girl get an attitude when you're doing your last video, like, nigga, when you gonna take me out to eat?
Yeah.
When you gonna take me to the movies? When we gonna go on a date? And then it causes relationship problems in your real life that can affect your content. And you might get mad, get in an argument. You might not want to film the next day. Might not want to stream the next day. You might not want to go to the studio the next day. Whatever. Like, so I would tell myself if I was 22, I would say, bro, just grind it out. Let a relationship happen.
Yeah.
But only happen when you feel comfortable in yourself as a man. Like,
I
I'm gonna stop yapping after this is my last comment. I feel like you shouldn't get in a relationship until you feel like a nigga can't DM your girl and take your girl. Like if you feel like it's a nigga out there that's more lit than you, more like stable than you that can take your girl, then you ain't working hard enough.
All right, that's DDG, man. He giving some advice out there to 22-year-olds, but it's getting a lot of pushback. As you guys know, him and his children's mother, because they wasn't married, they broke up. And it hasn't been really said what exactly happened, but I think both of them being public figures, there was a message that was put out there, but the people wasn't cutting him no slack in the chat. So they said,
I was not thrilled to hear that at all. Because I feel like life is all about perspective, you know? And I heard a couple things. I heard him call his a relationship at that age a restriction and a part-time job. Now, I really just feel like it's just all about your perspective and how you look at things. If he was looking at that young lady like a restriction or a part-time job, that's probably something that he wasn't ready for. It probably wasn't something that he was mature enough to handle. And I just kind of feel as though it's a slap in the face when I look at the profile of that young lady and all she sacrificed, her tarnishing her Disney reputation, putting her thriving career on hold to stop and have a child, and to hear something like that just feels like a slap in the face to me. It's just no way around it. I think that if you think that you have to be the littest person in the room to not get your girl taken, then you're totally approaching the situation wrong. Because there will always be a more lit nigga than you. There will always be a more lit woman than me. The point is, are you invested in that connection? Or do you trust what y'all have built already? And I think that's where the lack of maturity is coming in on his part.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? He was going a little off. I mean, there was some points in there where I can't understand it, but when he lost me when he started talking about that, some nigga more lit than you could take your girl through a DM. Look, if that's what you're worrying about, bro, you probably don't need a girl. Because it's all like you said, DJ, it's always gonna be somebody that may have more than you. But if that's what y'all basing it on, then bro, you might want to stay alone because that's insecure like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just straight insecurities of a young boy. As far as with the working aspect, yeah, I understand. Hey, get your grind on, but at the same time, it's not that hard to find a woman that understands that. You know what I mean? Like she gets the grind. Now, his issue could be she don't care about your grind because she doesn't need anything from you. She got her own this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? So that could potentially be one of the issues where she's not got to work because she doesn't really see the importance of it because you're not really taking care of her. She can take care of herself.
All right, go ahead, Brown Sugar.
Yeah, I basically agree with what DJ and Law said. I can see some points of what he said. Like, I would definitely tell a younger person or my younger self, like, don't even focus, like, to put too much focus on relationships, like, really brand it out and focus on getting yourself together. So I definitely agree with that. I didn't see the entire interview. I don't follow too much with all of that, but um um so yeah, I don't know like everything that he said, but I would agree with majority of what he said. um I would say like relationships are definitely a perspective. That's how he looks at it. Like it's always gonna be someone. Like I didn't even understand what he said when he said someone more lit. Like what does that mean? um but Yeah, he lost me there, but for the majority, I definitely would agree that I would tell my younger self that.
So I know one of the things that was brought up is about building with people. How do you guys feel about building with someone? So getting together young, because on one instance, people encourage women to marry early, or people to marry early in general, just so that they are not getting those miles and experiences, the negative experiences on them. So if a guy doesn't have his stuff together, and a woman doesn't necessarily have her stuff together, then how do you guys feel about them building together to kind of offset those negative experiences that they may endure by waiting too late?
That's essentially what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my wife been together since high school, and we built it, brick by brick. So I mean, but again, that doesn't work for everybody. That's a a rare scenario.
I think at
I feel
that
like when you're that
age.
young,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, young lady.
I feel like when you're that young, like you're too immature. Like that whole clip, DDG, like they're young. Like that's not even his statement, his conversation that he had was fit for their age. They young, they all into content. Like he listed everything that he want to do. I want to do videos, this and that. And then he's like, it's a full-time job. Oh yeah, my girl, I gotta take her out. You're not ready for a relationship, and that's fine because you're young. But you just had a kid. And that's my thing with this situation is how is it that these couples are having kids and breaking up while pregnant or breaking up right after the baby? He's too young. He sees it. A marriage is a job. Is a business. A marriage is a business. So he had the right concept and he said the right concept. He just wasn't ready for it. Yeah, you do need to find time for your relationship and grind. But in his mind, he's thinking You know, saying you got to grind first, and you should, but you started that situation, and now you need to, you know, saying deal with it. So like what Brown Sugar said, I agree with what he said. He's just too immature to understand it. So he was saying the right thing, just too immature to, you know, process how to apply that to his situation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. There's the pro of getting together when you're both young is that y'all should both be in your grind mode. It's great to get together and build from the ground up. When you get older and you're established and you're meeting people that are not established, that's when it starts being like, well, what have you been doing the past 10 years? You know, but at that age, I think it's perfectly normal to get with somebody and be like, let's build together. And the fact that he doesn't understand that his single life is going to be different from his relationship life and his life with a newborn is showing his lack of maturity. But I mean, he is 22, 23. So that's the risk you take when you settle down so early and have a child so young.
So
I think that
that's conversation. I thought my man gave him some bad advice. 90% of what he said was bad. What he told that young man, I don't give a damn if he's talking to himself or he's talking to somebody else. It was bad. Look, we can't act like being in a relationship is not hard, depending on the type of woman you get with, or the type of man you get with, or the type of individual you get. You can't act like that. You got some women who are needy. So that means you are constantly trying to cater to them on a regular basis. That's not easy, especially when you're a young man, you trying to grind. Now, to me, you can do it, but you got to have a conversation with this woman. And she needs to know what exactly you got going on. So now you got to be very transparent so she knows the situation. Because a young woman like that has a lot of insecurity issues because they're going to see why are you always gone all the time? Why are you always doing these shows? Why are you here? Why you got all these women on your panels and all? They're going to feel some type of way because they're going to feel like, well, he's not with me. Is he out here with these other heifers? Is he cheating on me? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? And if you're not securing her by letting her know exactly what's going on, what's the deal, why you doing this, why you working so hard, because you're trying to build for this family, it's going to be a problem. And so a man can do it as a young age if he's mature enough, mentally mature enough, or the individuals are mentally mature enough to have the conversation. Now, if you got a woman, you do exactly what I'm saying you should do, share what you tell, and she's still doing this, you need to cut that woman loose because she's not the woman for you. She's not in your corner. She's not looking to build with you. She wants you to be wherever you be, where you could be available all the time. Look, you're never going to stop grinding. I don't care how young you are, how old you are. You're going to continue to grind. The grind may be looking different as you get older, of course, but you're going to always continue to grind. You're never going to stop grinding. As long as you want to make better for you and your family, yourself, and your wife, you're going to always be grinding. The grind is never going to stop. Like I said, the only thing that's going to be different is how it looks. That's it.
Go ahead, King, talk. Let me unmute you. Hold on.
Greetings to everybody. Yeah, my mic is on. All right, so with this particular young man, I think it's unfortunate. It shows that he probably does not have any other mature males in his circle, because somebody should have made a very simple solution. The conversation that Hank mentioned should be had, but at the same time, build a studio in the house.
Okay.
Sorry, build a studio in the house. It's a very simple solution. Build a studio in the house. At the moment of their relationship, his girlfriend happened to be a more accomplished musician than he is. So the idea of building a studio in the house, or even having a studio that's nearby, 10 minutes away, it would be that plus the conversation should be enough. It should be enough to solve that problem. She understands the music grind. She's in the music business. So I just think that was a conversation, that his youth and that his inexperience in that department just kind of showed itself. Yes, marriages work. Full-time, part-time, yep, marriages work. It's just supposed to be a job that you love. Like, let's not even pretend. It's supposed to be a job that you love. It's supposed to be a job that's going to kick your ass. Kick your butt on some days, and on other days it's going to be that job that it bolsters you. You feel like this is what I got signed up for, type bit. You know what I'm saying? But everything in life that's worth it takes some work. So of course it's going to feel like a job sometimes.
Like Law said, I know Law said that his wife and you guys built together. That don't happen a lot because a lot of people grow and mature in relationships and they change. I have two friends, but they've been with the same guy since high school. Same thing. They grinding together. All of a sudden, there's a selfish moment because now you're grinding hard. You see something else, and they grew apart. So when you starting that young, yeah, it might sound a little good, but y'all still growing up, having your own opinions, decide what else you want to do with life, and that person may not be the person that you see eventually. So sometimes I feel like trying to start real young, early, get married early, like it's not gonna work. Not in today's, maybe back in the day, it used to, but not in our days of dating. Getting married and starting that young when it's so quick to make money online and do so much stuff. Like just like I mean, it all came out in DDG's conversation. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. Yeah, you growing, you grinding, and you realizing now the same person is here and she still wants that same attention. And what you got to do is going. So yeah, it's nice. It sounds good to start that young, but at the end of the day, people grow and mature and they grow apart.
So Chanel, do you think that we're making excuses when we say people grow apart? Do you think that's something that's loosely being thrown out there as a excuse for people to be okay and say, "Oh, we just grew apart"?
No, because it's just the same as like when you're young and in your mind you think, I want to grow up and be a doctor. And then, you growing, you meeting people, you learning things, you traveling, you doing stuff, and you start seeing yourself in a different light. You start seeing yourself doing something different. It's the same in relationships too when you're that young. Y'all young and all y'all see is we gonna do this together. And then reality, life happens. And that's how so it's not an excuse. I don't think it should be an excuse. That's just reality, that people do grow apart and that's okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, we not gonna work. We successfully hung in there for 13, 14 years. That's great. That's still successful. But just because y'all broke up after being together that young, it's understandable. Especially when you've been married before and you know what marriage is. It's like, yeah, they got a lot to learn. They're not ready for all of that. And they tried it, cool. But it doesn't mean that it was a failed situation or a failed relationship.
Oh, I would have to challenge that and say I think that it is a cop out. It's an easy way to walk away from something that you have invested 12, 13 years in, regardless if you were 19 or if you were 32. We see people going through the same exact thing at all of these ages, especially now. So I think that if you lose the hindsight of what the ultimate goal is in the relationship, we have come this far. Of course, we're going to grow over the 10, 20 years, but the idea is to grow together and continue to learn each other. We're going to change, we're going to evolve, but are we going to constantly put in the work to fully understand who it is that you're becoming and kind of let go of what we were when we were young? As the saying goes, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spoke as a child. But once I became a man, I changed my ways. So that has to go hand in hand on both sides for men and women. So if we are approaching this thing called life together, then we have to continuously grow and evolve and communicate. But we live in an era now where it's easier just to walk away, and it's easier to say, "Oh, we just grew apart."
But that's still, you have to understand, you're right. But I have a best friend now. She's going through a divorce after 22 years. When they
Wow.
met, I'm about to tell you, when they met, They were 19 years old. He was a security guard working at the prison. He's still been doing it. She done went, got degrees. She done tried to pay for him to be a police officer. She want to upgrade him a little bit. He don't want to do nothing but be at the freaking security, you know what I'm saying, place. And they've got 3 kids together, you know what I'm saying, houses. They've done all kind of stuff together. And he's still, and she
So,
tired of, she don't want him no more. He's not the same person anymore. And she hung in there for 22 years.
hey, so
Hold on,
if they,
hold on, y'all. Wait till she finishes. Did you finish it now?
I mean, yeah, you know, at the end of the day, she grew and he didn't. They're 2 different people now. They're not the same people when they were younger. So you're right. You have to communicate and try. But at the end of the day, if one person is growing and the other person isn't, you know what? We did this. We got 3 kids. You know, it's a wrap. Because at the end of the day, I'm still growing and I'm starting businesses, and you just want to be that, and that's not what she want no more. So it's unfortunate, but it's reality.
so it the part that I'm confused on, if they were able to build all of these accolades together, they've acquired all of this wealth, these assets, and due to the fact that what essentially that he's doing in the jailhouse, maybe this is his passion. Maybe
It
that's just what.
is.
So why? So now uh she's going to hold it against him. Essentially, she's going to
She
destroy.
is. And
She's
and that's how I
destroying
feel
a
bad
marriage.
for
No,
him.
let them finish. Let them finish.
She's going to destroy a marriage due to the fact that this man is doing something that he enjoys and loves to do, and because it doesn't fit the narrative that she wants and that she doesn't want to accept, she's going to throw it away because essentially she believes that there are better options out there. So to me, that's a cop out. If the man ain't beating on her, if he not cheating on her, you know, he's bringing home a check, he's making sure home is good, he's doing his husbandly duties, he's making sure that she's good, then what the fuck are you leaving him for? Like that's childish. Like, grow up. You should tell her to grow up, because
I agree. She do need to
that's
grow up. But they kids out of school now, you know what I'm saying? The last one just went off to college. Everybody grown and it's just them 2. Cause I had to ask her too, why you waiting till you 50 to decide to leave this man? Like, that's a long time. You starting all over. You know, she got a little taste of the dating scene and think it's something better out there. But at the end of the day, she just, it's, once the kids is gone, all she see is, I've been trying to get this man to do some stuff. You know, she keep talking about when she was going to leave him in her 30s. She's tried to leave him a couple times for the same
wow.
reason. For the
That's
same
heartbreaking.
reason. And
That's
he's a
heartbreaking.
sweet guy. He has a passion for it. But she just grew, I guess. She grew. She traveled and been in Milan working and stuff. She done met people. She feel like he down there and I'm up here. And that's just the reality. I don't saying I agree with her. This is just what I'm saying. I'm watching this happen, you know, where
The
people have grown apart.
Hold on,
the
Viz.
same the
Hold
same
on.
way.
Viz, hold on. Let's get Sham Monet in now. Let's try to spread the mic because it's going back and forth with y'all. Go ahead, Sham Monet.
Wait, I'm gonna just say this real
Go ahead.
quick.
Please let him get it out. Thank you.
All I want to say is the same way that women expect men to hold men accountable and call them out on their bullshit, that should be a duty as well for women.
Okay. Go ahead, Sham.
So to the original post, I believe that, I think maybe somebody said it was just so long ago. I agree with the young lady above. You know, I don't have my glasses on. The young lady above said, it's just unfortunate for me, because I remember when we found out, you know, during the Little Mermaid era, because that's when she got pregnant. I remember it coming out that she was pregnant. And I remember reading the comments, and people not like us was like, who is this guy? Why did she? All these negative things to say about she making her single. And it just became right. Everything that they predicted, it's just another case of, told you this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And this is so many of our stories, right? You in a relationship, you went up for long term, you know, it doesn't end up in marriage, you end up being a single mom. And she has fault in that because she had a kid knowing that she was not married by this man. Both are at fault. It's just unfortunate there's a kid in this situation. It's not a regular relationship. I understand you're saying he's too young. He's a dad. And guess what? When you become a dad, you have a responsibility and you have to own up to that responsibility. This is not a regular relationship. And my understanding, he's 26. A lot of men are getting married at 26. Not in our culture, but a lot of men get married by 26. So he's not too young. Maybe his mentality is young, but he's not too young to be married and to take over the household. People want relationships without the responsibility. And that is the problem. Yes, he should have, just like Hank said, there should have been a communication there. Listen, I'm the man in this relationship. I gotta make money for this family. I love you. I'm gonna take you out, reassure her through your words, call her often, but I gotta go do what I gotta do. You know, and your woman should respect that, right? But obviously that conversation wasn't had. And it's just like, okay, just done with the relationship. I'm hoping it's just a break in the relationship. You know how some people say they break up and they just make up later on? I'm really hoping that this is that situation. Because I have seen this little girl grow up. And I just hate that this is going the way that it's going in a typical, you're in a relationship, you have a kid, now you're single mom, single dad. And I'm just over it. At this point, we have enough knowledge through YouTube, everything that you can get information from people. You've seen people do it this way, and it just does not work out right? So I really hope that her dad, his dad, whoever, they can get together and make this solid again and help them work through this issue so they can get it right. Because I like him. I think he's, the things I've seen about him, I do like him. I love her because I've actually seen her. And I just want them to work it out for the kids. It's too late for that other stuff. You got a child at this point. it just seems so petty almost. That's just my opinion on the situation.
So I'm gonna put this on the table too, because you kind of hinted around to it, but is it a thing where men will recognize a woman that they look to be a certain way that they would try to impregnate her, like intentionally? Like, do you think that's the thing?
Yeah. You said, I'll say it again. Run it by me again. I just want to understand, make sure I'm understanding your question.
So I've seen, right, and I've heard, and you kind of hinted around to it, where the world or maybe people may recognize this woman is good, or maybe she's measured in a good light, a gem, like someone special to the masses within that circle, and then you'll have that man that come in that intentionally impregnates her. Would you guys say that that's a thing? Like, what do you guys thoughts about that?
I don't think it's an intentional thing, but I do think that it happens. I don't think from his side he was like, "Oh, I'm intentionally gonna screw this girl's brand up." You know what I'm saying? I don't think that that's how he came in. But it is a thing. Like we have this thing where we are attracted to the opposite world, right? I want to say, I don't think they're bred the same. I don't, but I think they could have been perfect together had they had guidance and because I saw them walking in a good direction, right? But it just sucks. I mean, because Disney is pretty big. Like Disney is like you were the Little Mermaid. They wanted another mermaid, and you were it. And then.
So just to answer to that question, do men trap women via pregnancy? All the time. Because it's the easiest way to sit a woman down and slow her up. I'm not saying everybody does it, but it definitely happens. And it doesn't just happen to women of Haley Bailey's caliber. It happens to everyday women all the time. So to answer to that question, yes, they do. But just to go back a little bit, also when we're talking about marriage, I don't think that cheating and beating is the only reason why marriages break up. As a matter of fact, the number one reason for divorce these days is lack of communication. Lack of communication is a marriage's biggest enemy. And if it festers, it will erode at your marriage. There are so many reasons why people break up: lack of trust, lack of respect. I mean, these seem simple and fixable, but if it's chronic and it goes on, it can if and then there's no change in behavior, no one's addressing anything, then I don't think anyone should stay in a loveless um relationship that is lacking in trust, that is lacking in respect. Why? You have one life. One life. You got one time to do it. So if you got one time to do life and you're very, very not just unhappy but unsatisfied, you are not content for a long extended periods of time, that means that your partner is not interested in changing the behavior to make the relationship be healthier. What are we doing?
All right, so I did want to say this. I think at the time, I do think in this particular instance that the guy was using sex as a weapon. I do think there are a percentage of mentally immature guys who see themselves being able to have an extended contract with a woman through getting her pregnant, right? And in these instances, they know what they're doing. There's a reasonable expectancy. If you're consistently having unprotected sex with someone and no one's taking any preventive measures, there's a reasonable expectation that someone's going to wind up pregnant. So at what point do you stop calling it accidental when it happens? Right? Like we know the equation, we know how the math goes. Why is there such a shock value when the math? Right? Like let's cut that crap. It's not accidental, it's incidental. You did it until it happened. It was bound to happen. Right? So I do think that since he was at the pinnacle of her career and he was still looking to catch in his career, because he had a reasonable local name, a regional name, he was still looking to catch. I think that honesty would have worked out in both of their instances, but they would have had to start with being honest with themselves. Right? He was just young and having fun and not thinking maturely, and this was the result of it. And that's part of he's gonna have to own that at some point to be able to move forward.
But this statement of men trapping women by getting them pregnant, that sounds crazy to me. Because as soon as you find out you are pregnant, there's things you can do so you can get untrapped or unhinged or out of that situation. It's not like it's a permanent situation. There's all type of contraceptives you can use prior to getting pregnant and after pregnancy. So how?
Hold on. The woman typically
that don't make sense to me. So hold on, King. That don't make sense to me. So as a woman can trap a man because once she gets pregnant, he does slip up and get her pregnant. She make the decision whether I want to keep that child or not, and just go from there. But as a man, I can't sit there and say that I'm gonna trap you and I'm gonna make you have this baby. I can't make you do anything that you don't want to do.
If a guy's
with that said, I'm pretty sure that Haley and DDG talked about it when she got pregnant. Like they both, she probably thought she sacrificed she sacrificed everything, so she just knew that this is who she was gonna be with and this is how she gonna work it out. So I'm pretty sure they talked about it and she was like, okay, I don't think she just got pregnant. Like, what we're gonna do? Like they had control over how that was gonna move forward and they talked about it. I won't give them a pass on that. Like they knew what they were doing. They both had the conversation. It just didn't work out after they continued to move forward immaturely.
She literally paused a peaking, super successful career. I really don't think she did that just on a whim on something that he didn't agree with. Like that conversation was had. Most times if a guy's trying to trap a girl into pregnancy, he's not going to turn around and be the complete jackass until it's beyond the point of being able to unalive the child. That would be stopping. That's like running a race and deciding to stop halfway. If you're going to do that dumb-ish, you hold on to this facade of what type of person you are until that decision, there's no reversing the decision. Like I literally know people who had those experiences. Like, and so it's nice. It happens far more often than guys admit. Like it really does. They immature-minded guys think that by getting a girl pregnant, they're always going to be linked to and attached to that person's life, and she's going to be less appealing and less attractive to other men.
So just to address the idea that men don't trap women, but women trap men is kind of ridiculous to me, because the same way you said women have choices after they get pregnant, you have choices by not impregnating her. You have a choice not to have sex with the woman that you wouldn't want to have a child with. You have choices to use different contraceptions. You have choices to not slip up. You have choices as well. It's at a different phase in the interaction, but nevertheless, it's still a choice. We all have choices, but sometimes when we discuss things in relationships and we still decide to cross that bridge, for example, if a woman says, I don't believe in abortions, and you still decide to have sex with her knowing that you don't want to have that if she gets pregnant, that she's not going to get an abortion, then what do we think that is? So there are a lot of scenarios, again, where women are trapped, and it's not talked about enough, because a lot of times a man doesn't know how else to maybe get what he wants out the situation. So the quickest thing that comes to mind is, well, if she has a child, she's gonna have to sit down for at least 2 years, or she's not gonna be a viable candidate to anybody else, or there's so many reasons why some men do that. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly.
So I want to give a
So
little pushback on that too,
the
though.
methods
'Cause-
of
hold
if you
on,
don't want a child, she don't need an abortion. That's cool. She could put that child up for adoption. Nobody said she had to delete the child, but you could put that child up for adoption. That is another option that women have after pregnancy. So we can't sit there and say it can't happen. It does happen. That's why these abortion, these adoption clinics, these adoption places are so full of kids, because many of women have done that. Many have made that decision. Many have made that choice. So it's not like it's not an option. You don't have to delete. You can always put them up for adoption as an option.
Can men go get vasectomies if they don't want kids? Ooh, the silence in the room.
I mean, that's the obvious though.
That's the mature choice.
But that's also
fair though. That's fair.
That's also ridiculous though. You don't tell women to go get their tubes tied before they've had children. So that's fairly ridiculous. That's kind of like
Well, don't
a
have
near. Hold on,
premarital
I'm
sex
not
with
done.
them,
Hold
you
on, hold
don't.
on. That's a near like irreversible. Yeah, you can going back and change it, but come on now. We know that's not happening very often. What I'm saying is, here's the thing. It does come down to simply protecting yourself. That's it, right? If you don't agree with abortion, I'm sorry, if you don't agree with doing that termination, then take the precautions so that it doesn't happen. Plain and simple. At the end of the day, you have to take those precautions. Don't sit here and say, well, if you and they knew they didn't want to get. Come on, man. Let's keep it real. Let's at all costs. If you ain't ready for it, let's prevent it. That's it.
Yeah, I don't understand why, and I get it. We want
got
to
you,
put
Shane, I
the
got
blame. We want to put the blame on the man, but at the end of the day, if the woman says that she doesn't want to get pregnant or have an abortion, y'all not married.
Hold on,
Watch the
y'all.
word. Watch the word.
Yeah, watch the word. Say
Oh, my
delete,
bad.
deletion. Yeah.
My bad. A deletion. Y'all not married, and you're still having unprotected relations. Then it's a mutual problem at this point. It's two people making a decision that they don't want to stand behind. So if she is at the peak of her career in Disney, we're all acknowledging this. She's at the peak of her career with Disney, and you're still having unprotected sex with a guy that hasn't proposed to you, haven't put a ring on the finger, nothing, then that's on you. It's that's the harsh reality of it. Like I get it. Me personally, I would have been cuffed her. It's the Little Mermaid. What? I'm finna put a ring on her immediately, and we finna do this right. But the fact that she doesn't see the value of herself and doing that and standing behind it, And hey, that's on her.
Okay, so
That's
that-
not on the man.
All right, we gotta go to Shan. We gotta go to Shan, and then we're gonna transition to the next topic, y'all. Go ahead, Shan.
Well, Viz, I agree with so I agree that we have to take the steps to prevent ourselves. I want to say I agree with Viz on that part, and I agree with him on that part. But I'm so tired of people using the deletion. I'm not for it at all. So I'm not the person you want to say that in front of. I feel like beforehand, if you're responsible adults, you take care of responsibility. You can't get on the road drinking, get in an accident, and be like, oh, I should. No, you knew that when you drink and you get on the road, you can have an accident and something can happen, right? It could be a car accident, it could be a fatality. Okay, what do you do now? You have to prevent it from happening. The vasectomy, that conversation. Look, I understand it's some percentage that's not reversible, but when a woman goes in to get a deletion, the absolute same thing can happen to her because that's still surgery too. And people not looking at it that way. That's surgery as well. So you protecting yourself by not having surgery, but you want her to go have surgery. So make it make sense. It can't be one person. What I'm saying is you have two mature people who have absolutely, that's correct. And if she takes birth control, guess what? She increases her chances of getting breast cancer. She increases her chances of stroke. All of the side effects of consistently.
Don't forget about the blood clots.
Blood clots. So y'all don't look at that part. You just like, oh, just not me. But what about her? And that's a woman's problem because you're doing it to yourself. You know all of these things. You know the side effects. They make sure you know them. You know you're going into surgery. And I don't know why we keep on taking putting that all on us when we can just protect ourselves. Stop dealing with this no good man. Stop. Don't even, if you know you're a lover, like I'm a lover, like I'm a person when you get, it's hard to, I'm not an accessible person, but when I finally let you into me, I love hard. And sometimes that's how women get caught up. They get emotional. They start being in love with somebody and then logic goes out of the door. And men know that. They know how to play that until they get that heart involved and then they do that reversal thing on you. You know what I'm saying? But we got to be smarter than that. We cannot don't even let them say hello. Block off the access. Boom, up, good. We don't live the same life. Nope. Keep it moving. We have to start being better choosers and just being okay with being alone until we can have that company of a man who is on the same page as us. The problem is nobody wants to walk alone. They feel like, oh, I'm gonna do this situationship. And guess what she's doing? You in that situationship, you fall in love, and then you end up getting pregnant, and this happens. Now your whole career done for a man, and you looking back like shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's just
the way men are blaming women for everything. Just stop having sex with them unless they marry you. That's where it should be at this point. The way they find a way to blame women and like, to me, this is a two-sided conversation, right? Because I feel like both people, I'm not saying that women don't do it. I'm just saying men do it as well. And all this pushback about no, men don't do it. It's like, okay. And then you're saying get an abortion, don't have sex. Ladies, don't have sex with these men. All these men that are saying, it's your fault, you should have chose better. You right. Wait till you're married. Period.
Because they are right. It's our fault.
We don't have to worry about that. These heifers are spreading these legs like crazy. So, fellas, you had one heifer will say no to you, her neighbor won't. She will give that ass up.
Absolutely.
The value is so low now. I mean, you can get it for anything at this point, and that's the problem. I agree with that. Listen, I always just say, don't give these men children if they don't give you a commitment. And this is what I'm teaching my adult daughter, and my daughter's coming up behind her. Don't come to me talking about what he said he loved me and all this old boo-hoo ha-ha shit. I don't want to hear it. You feel me? I don't want to hear it.
I'm raising my daughter. These men will sleep with anything. Yes, definitely guarded and protected till the person says that, because these guys have no key discipline. They'll walk in any door that's left open for them. They're like stray animals.
Yeah, I mean, and I wanted to say,
look, King, these women don't have pussy discipline. They can't keep it closed.
Exactly why
you keep talking about this man have deep discipline. I can't get no ass if she not giving it up.
But that's why
tell her to keep her goddamn blaze closed, man.
Let me give you an example.
We need that's part of our problem. We keep talking about these men de-discipline. Men have never had discipline over the history of time.
Unsuccessful.
But you know who had the discipline? The women either had the discipline or she had a goddamn chastity belt on. Put a virtual chastity belt on these heifers. Tell them to close their goddamn legs. You don't get pregnant. You can't get pregnant when you keep your legs closed unless somebody commits a goddamn crime. Instead, you heifers are open your leg like it's 7-Eleven. And guess what? That's why I think we talked about it last week sometime. Are hoes important? I think it was on a Wednesday. How valuable hoes are. That's why they're valuable. So when you want to decide to go with celibate on a motherfucker,
I agree with
decide
you.
to go to Steve Harvey route and say, no, you can't have it for 90 days. Cool, because there's a hoe out there who's going to give it up within 9 minutes. We ain't got to worry about it. They keep them legs open after dark, before dark, and at dark. Doesn't matter. Hoes gonna keep it open.
So you are worried about it. See that, lady?
But I think
we've pointed out.
Hold on,
y'all.
Being what he keeps referring to.
We've pointed out numerous times on the panel that men should not just be laying their seed any and everywhere. We've said that numerous times. So it's not a thing of where we're not saying this to men, because we are. I say it all the time. Stop putting seeds in women that you don't want to be with.
Right.
That goes against the whole process of success. You're now making the situation more difficult than what it is. So even with the information that DDG did give him, he left out that key point. But the problem is that women, both sides, but women are okay with being a baby mama. So if that's where they lay their value, then that's where they're going to be. So it is a mutual thing. It's on both sides, absolutely. But the harsh reality at the end of the day is that women hold the key to sex. They hold the key to a man planting his seed inside of her. So we both have to work diligently to this, but we also have to enforce it upon our women so that they understand their value of not just allowing for their land to be given to anybody.
All right, we got to go to King, and then we're going to finish this off, y'all. Go ahead, King.
Okay, so I do understand. Okay, if we're going at both, if we're looking at the concept of it takes two, right? We as guys, I think a lot of times we know where that woman is at mentally in terms of her thought process of the relationship, right? So if you know that this young lady is looking at the relationship as if she's gonna be able to keep you, as if you're gonna be her knight in shining armor, you're gonna be this, that, and the other, and you know that she's gonna be willing to keep a child if she gets pregnant, can't we make mature decisions? Like at the end of the day, I've never seen a woman get pregnant without semen. Can't we decide that we're gonna wear a condom because we know this young lady will probably keep the child? Why are we always allowing ourselves to have a pass to act like immature people who just realize they got cum in their sack? Like, what can we just act like we know what the result of unprotected sex is? Like, at the end of the day, can kings be kings? Can leaders be leaders? We're popularizing and normalizing thinking like average savages. Hey, I'm gonna come where I'm gonna come. What she do with it is up to her. Come on, man.
So again, but see, I want to push back. Everybody's not a king. You know what I'm saying? We have to remember that we are talking to women. I'm talking to women, right? You can't predict what this man is going to be, what he's going to do. So in my stance is protect yourself, because you can be left with a bag tomorrow and he can be down the block and you never see him again. That's why I think it's more onus on women to protect themselves from that, because you don't get a chance to decide on what he should do. Yes, we all talking about what should happen and morality. I'm not talking about morality. I'm talking about actuality and what can happen. You can be left holding the bag, so protect yourself if that's not something you want. My bad.
All right, Shannon, we got to move on. We got to move on, y'all. Hit the like button. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Moving into our next clip.
I think when it comes to morals, we don't ask men, like, morally, how do you feel about watching porn? How do you feel about paying for sex work? Like, because sex work exists because there's a market for it, right? The people who created the market is men. no one comes up to men and be like, morally, like, don't you think it's a bit strange that
No one
you're
comes
like
to men and
paying
be
a woman
like,
to have sex with
morally,
her?
like,
Morally,
don't you
don't you
think
think
it's
it's
a bit
strange that
strange? No
you
one
like
comes to
flew
men
a
and be
woman
like,
out and
morally,
like
like,
paid her well for 3 days, based on an arrangement? Like, morally, don't you think that's weird that like you bought a picture of a woman's tits for £500? Morally. Like, I feel like morals are something that are imposed on women to keep us in line, but I don't see men being held to a moral standard.
But then you don't feel that men and women are equal, right? So then there's going to be different treatment. Do you not just feel like that's just the world that we live in, that there's going to be certain things that we can get away with as women and that it's not going to be frowned upon? You know, sexually we're allowed to be more free, and probably that's why a lot of men, maybe they should be with men but they can't, because they can't even don't have the freedom to fucking experiment. Do you get what I mean? Especially within the Black community, like we can go right, that's what I'm saying, like we can go into the toilets and have a little or even like you can have a little kiss with a girl and no one's gonna think
it's just a friendly kiss as friends,
right? Do you get what I'm saying? So even that, we get to experiment more, they don't. So that whole idea of, you know, men get to do this but we don't, do you not find it a bit contradictory, because we're not the same? Because in one breath it will say we're not the same, but then do you get what I mean?
I get what you're saying, in the sense that like, why do women have to be held to morals and men aren't? For me, it's like, because all of this is a mess, I make my own rules and I don't wait for anybody to assign me morality, because that's done nothing for me. For me, it's about, do I feel happy? Do I feel proud of myself? Do I feel resolved in my decision?
Okay, fair.
Because as a woman, there's always going to be something that you will do that will be considered immoral.
Fair. Even me and the thing is, sorry to interrupt, literally, I could be talking about giving head. When I used to talk about the basics of giving head online, people would be like, why are you talking? I'm like, I'm not even giving a demonstration. I just said I enjoy giving head. I haven't got a cucumber out or anything. Like, head, you know what I mean? And I'll be getting ripped. Do you think your husband wants to hear you talk about this? And so I get it. There's so many different levels of, that's what I mean, of morals. Because what someone look at me and what I talk and be like disgusting, and then someone,
see a man get told, do you think your future wife's gonna like hearing you talk about how much you like eating pussy on Twitter?
Right, we're gonna be like, green flag. If he was saying that, we'll be like, yes. Because Barry, you were trying.
Values. This is a clear example of the values.
There was so much going on in there, bro. I don't even know what to comment on. You know what I mean? Like, it looked like it was trashy to me. You know what I mean? And it's a big difference. The reason why it's different for men and women is because a man actually has to do work in order to get sex from a woman. A woman, that is your value. You're born with it. You don't have to do much in order to get sex from a man, but say okay. That's why men have to sometimes buy it, because they can't just go out and readily get it if they want. Whereas a male prostitute, if you a gigolo, bro, you're not getting paid like a woman is. Plain and simple. The value is just not the same. That's that.
Right, Shan.
Listen, I guess it depends on who you're trying to get it from, because obviously she don't mind just giving it. I mean, obviously you can get it, but I guess you should have standards about who you're getting it from. You know, because no woman is gonna just get up here and be like, oh, you can get it and you can get it and you can get it, and I should be able to just give it to all of y'all, you know. Like, so yeah, you can get it from somebody, but look who you're getting it from. You're gonna always find an exception to the group who doesn't mind giving it to you, but do you really want it from that person? Like, of course you don't have to work hard for it. Everybody got it. I'm not understanding. She's not I hate when people feel like she's the norm. She's not the norm. She's she's plastered everywhere because everybody who's just like her is, you know, they don't mind putting it on the internet. But I don't think that they're the majority. I think most women are not just out here giving their box up to anybody who wants it. You understand what I'm saying? You will find somebody who's willing to give it up, and usually they are on talk shows with bunnies on their heads, you know? So, sorry, but I'm not. So, not all
that shit was distracting.
We gotta pay attention to the.
Why you take a shot to King like that? Leave a man's bonnet alone, man.
I mean, her makeup was, she
We-
had a good beat in her bonnet. I didn't understand that. But
Man, but Shan, but the issue is that and there was a show that you guys had talked about this before, how rap music is or isn't influencing the black community. The problem is that this rhetoric is influencing the black community. So
listen, nobody can influence you. There's no amount of influence that's gonna make me open my legs up to every man who come and blow on my shoulder. That I don't care.
that's you that's
What?
that's
But
you
that is
that
me. But there
right,
are
but let me finish. So the problem is that with social media being so influential, and there are a lot of people that are weak-minded that's out here. They're weak-minded, they're bitter, they're full of hate. They have all of these issues, and they're listening to what this woman is saying, and they're like, you know what, that makes sense. Just like Chanel's friend. Oh man, she got a little bit of a little taste of the dating life. Now she's ready to go out, break up her marriage, and go home. You know, it's one of those deals where this is all being impacted in some way, shape, or form. So the more that this conversation is being pushed out, yeah, it may not influence you now, but who's to say it won't influence you 5 years down the line?
All right, let me get one country cookie in there. Let me check on brown sugar.
Is there a question being posed here? I just hear a lot of, because I came in late. I'll take accountability for that, but like,
No, it's not a question. We basically was talking about DDG and how their relationship basically fumbled. He put out a statement about what men should do at an earlier age, but it didn't look like that's what happened with him. And then it transitioned from talking about morals and who needs to be accountable when it comes to opening their legs or planting their seed. And then I just played this clip that you
oh,
see right now. So
okay.
it's adding all in together.
All right, so I got something for that. I think there is a such thing as male whores and female whores, and if you're not a whore, don't mess with one. Let the whores mess with the whores, and let the people with morals be mess with each other. Because what
There you
I
go.
hear is a lot of women, 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 and some women will be like men, men, men. When in reality, it's just a group of people, male and female, she, he, theirs, it's whatever they identify as out there, giving it up to everybody. So the way I feel about it is if you can just avoid that, if you're not that person, avoid that group in your circle. And if you are that person, please leave us alone. I mean, it's easy. I mean, we kind of over dissect things sometimes. If you're not a hoe, man or female, and yes, men can be whores, they get this called dirty D. It's called
What?
dirty dick, right? You can be a man whore. You can be out here messing with everything that open their legs, and you can spread diseases. You can give women BV. There's so many things that could go on. So there's dirty dicks out here, just like there's dirty peas. So I just say, vet and get to know people and make sure and keep your foundation and your morals the same. Don't slip up because you think you like somebody.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Cookie is saying. And that's all I was asking for in this conversation is just like stop blaming women for everything. It takes two, you know. And I just think that she's right. The problem with vetting is I think we're learning as we continue to have these conversations, is there really a way to truly vet? Because a lot of these male and female whores are cosplaying. That's the problem. That's the problem. When you are not showing up as your authentic self, when you're not being transparent about your agenda, whether you just are in it for something casual or something fun, and you're reckless. There's a lot of people cosplaying as people with a serious agenda. They're acting like they want to be in a relationship. They're selling a dream. They're acting like they're the conservative women that don't want to go out every night. They're acting like these upstanding men that want a family, and then you end up mixing up with people whose goals are really that, and then that's when you have all of these issues. Like she said, leave us alone.
You got something to say, Cookie?
Yeah, and I'm just saying, like, just be for real. Like, it's funny to me to see men get older. One thing I can say is he'd stay where he is. But it's funny to me how men get older and like, oh, responsibility and da 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 da, knowing that they penis at some point in their life was coughing, dripping, and they burned somebody probably in college or when they were younger. Like, I can these dudes out here and these females, these young females out here doing what they want to do. And I just think that we overanalyze and over talk. Just make sure if everybody stay home and make sure home is okay and that our genitalia are okay, then we'll probably have less problems. But I don't give a fuck about what DDG doing. I'm just gonna be for real. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, that's doing a disservice to our community. It's our duty.
But what was you doing when you was young, though?
I mean, I wasn't. I would say that I wasn't out being reckless. I was out being a young man for sure, but I wasn't out being reckless because I understood what all came with it. I
I'm
understood
laughing at him, not you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you good. I understood I understood the power that I had and also the value of myself. So the only way that young men and young women would understand that is by being influenced by that. I know for a fact that I am the man that I am today because of the influence that I had around me and the influence that I was the diet that I was intaking day to day. So for us to ignore what's being put out there, I think that is doing a disservice to our next generation. As a wise man once said, that we are the ancestors. So if we're not laying the groundwork, then who are we allowing to do it?
My thing is, did we listen? Did y'all listen? I mean, can you sit here and honestly not say that there are some hypocrites? I'm not saying on this panel.
Yeah,
there's some
no,
older people out here on some bullshit.
absolutely.
Okay, so
I
that's all
think
that
so,
I'm saying.
but
I'm
I
not
don't.
saying it's us. I'm just saying.
No, that's fair. But at the same time, even if they are hypocrites, it's still me being exposed to this information. I know that a big saying is the don't do what I say and not what I do type of deal. And I think that is valuable, because if I grew up in the hood and I seen a crackhead doing crack every day, and he said, "Man, don't do crack." You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to listen to what he's saying, even though he's doing what he's doing. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So that, to me,
it's easier to see the results of a crackhead, though.
It's easy to see the results of a person that has poor reproductive discipline.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. If it's easy to see a woman struggle through life as a single mother. It's easy to see a man struggle through life dealing with a bitter baby mama. It's easy to see a man struggle with having to pay child support. It's easy to see all of these things. We see it every single day, be it if in real life, be it on TV, in movies, on radio. We're constantly influenced by it, but yet somehow, some way, we still blame the other person.
All right, let me play this.
Right.
Let me play this other clip, y'all.
He used to always say to me, like, if I ever die and you're still a child while I die, make sure you don't marry poor. That is my dying wish that I leave with you. She usually says to me, do
So it's
not
been
marry poor.
imprinted from young.
And I see why she said that,
Right.
because when I see women who have married poor, especially those who are part of my audience who I speak with, and I hear all these kinds of stories, I'm like, this is what my mum meant by don't marry poor. Because when I see women who married rich, I'm not saying that anybody's situation is perfect, but I would always definitely choose a guy with money over a guy who hasn't got money, because there's more to benefit from. I'm not in the perspective anymore, because I used to be in that perspective when I was much younger, in my earlier 20s, of like, find a man who you can build with and have that everlasting.
That's the energy I'm still giving. Early 20 energy.
But then I've met and spoken to many women who are in their 40s and 50s, and they did the whole find a man you're going to build with, and they wish they didn't do that. Because this is what men do. Like, they will use you and build. They even be lying to women that they're moving to that they built it on their own. Whole time you're their business partner. And then the women that they now are able to get because of you building them, they're now able to move to. One day they just leave and
I
move on.
know.
And you hate to see it. And that woman is left there rocking back and forth in a padded room, like deep in her life. Like, this is not even a joke. There are women who are in mental health facilities
I know.
because of what a man has done to them.
No, yeah, I know, yeah.
This is a serious matter. And I just wish more women would take themselves seriously. You know, I remember when I used to be on dating apps, and the most common thing I'd see on guys' profiles is, "I love woman doesn't take herself too seriously." It's like, yeah, because you want to take advantage of me. You want to talk to me anyhow. That's why I like a woman who doesn't take herself seriously. I take myself very seriously. I take my life very seriously, I don't have time to waste. If I'm talking to a guy and I've scanned the trouser and the shoe, and I can already see that, you know what, like, it's actually not giving, I'm not even going to bother telling him that I like providers. He can't provide. I don't even want to ruin his day.
No, but sometimes the ones that have the nice ones on, nice clothes on, are the ones that have nothing.
But this is the thing. I don't even go for the ones that are wearing the Palma and and Casablanca. It's like, it's all about the context of where you meet that person as well.
Like, so you like frequent all the you frequent the good members clubs.
You know what's interesting, right? I would say, yeah, members clubs, but also I think it's also the actual environment you meet them. Like,
Go ahead, Brown Sugar. You ain't sitting in a while. What are you thinking over there?
One moment, y'all.
All right. We'll come back to her. Anybody else want to chime in?
First of all, I want to apologize. That's not a bonnet. That's a nicely crocheted hat. I actually like it. When I saw it, I was like,
I was just saying it's cute.
Maybe a different color. I don't know. Pretty women can get away with a lot, but that's a lot. Anyway.
But see, like what she was saying on there, you know, saying you building with someone, and then when they get to that selfish moment where they feel like, you know, saying they'll cut you loose. And I didn't want to say men, because women do it too, but that's just the reality of it. A lot of sacrifices made when you start that young, and you know, you get to a point where you've been supporting this person and what they want to do and all this stuff, and now they want to move on without you, and now you're just sitting there like, and a lot of women do that. They end up in situations like that. More women end up in situations like that than men.
I'm glad I had a daddy that loved me.
Amen.
I just want to point out, after researching most billionaires, because that's a small sample size, they did not leave their wives like people think they did. They're usually with the same woman who they've been with from the beginning. Only a few, very few. So I want to get rid of that rumor, especially on a billionaire level. I don't know billionaire because too many of them, but I have seen it on an average. Like, you get your money up, and then all of a sudden, you know. Yeah, especially with entertainers.
Okay.
Kanye West talked about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, King Talk.
I want to say this because I want to say this because I want to give people hope. I'm not saying it in a way that's supposed to come off as bragging. Love does work. Marriages do last. It is possible to be with somebody decades and still have that spark. I have it. So I want y'all to have hope. It's there. All right. I married a woman who I felt married to the minute I was able to put her on my joint bank accounts. The marriage was just an official ceremony that meant something to her. Honestly, like, and as a husband, I wanted to do anything I could do that could add to her happiness in a way that didn't detract from me. Right? So the marriage was symbolic for her, but I already felt committed and sure when I was able to put her on my accounts, and she could have whatever going on in her life, and it didn't affect the way the money was made. I am not afraid of what will happen if she leaves me and take half. I have done business deals and took losses before. I will be okay. All right? I will not breathe the same. I will grieve for a while. It will hurt, but I will be okay. It's okay to not be scared of what will happen if somebody leaves you. Prior to her, I was with one of those horrible people that everybody that guys use as an example of what women are. And you know what I did? I went and did counseling. I got closer to God. I faced my demons because those types of. I had a person that took me for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And she was an exact opposite person after the words I do. But I got okay, and I called it my practice relationship because I got it right for this one. I am a better husband to her because of what the crap I went through. You understand what I'm saying? So I want to give people hope that it is worth it. There are women who are going to take everything. She left with so many of my vehicles, she had to have family members come and help her get the cars. But I left with my peace. And she was not at peace when she left. And she did happen to be knocked up and pregnant within a year afterwards with somebody she didn't even stay with. That was her story. That is her karma. That is her life. I'm not sitting here celebrating her results, but I am celebrating my peace. Right? I became a better version of a human being, the kind of human being my wife deserves. And she became the kind of wife that I deserve. So keep trying. Get yourself to the point where you work on being able to sustain what you believe that you deserve in life. Because that takes work for yourself. And that work usually keeps you too busy to be out here worrying about everybody else's business.
Hallelujah.
That's it.
Thank you, sir. That was good.
I think that's a great thing for all of us to build on, using our trauma not as quicksand to sink further in, but to build on. You know, we supposed to be learning from those things. And I love to hear, Black men speak like that, and Black women for that matter. And just to speak really quick to what Viz was saying, I do understand what he's saying. When you constantly see something in the media, it can become influential because it creates normalcy. So now, even though, like, I think Shamona was saying that these women are the exception and not the rule. If you keep seeing it over and over again in your feed, Black women and Black men and people outside of our community get this impression of us. Oh, is this what y'all doing? This is the norm? This is how y'all think? And then it becomes this, we get this reputation, this stereotype. And so I do understand that. That's why it's just so important when we're parents to really just instill the right foundation and have faith in our parenting that is going to, kick in when they do see those things in their feed constantly over and over again. So I do understand both sides of that argument.
I
We
was just
don't
about to
understand.
say, bro, where are the parents? Because
As
I am an educator, as is Shan. So we see it all the time. Like, where are you? Why is it so like easy for your kid to be manipulated? I wish my daughter would.
as DJ, as Hink would say, welcome to the dark side.
All right, I got one more question. Go ahead.
Just real fast, I wanted to I agree with what you said. Everything that you said, I agree with. But I think that that's the importance of when we have these discussions. We have to point out that this is not most women. We have to say it loud because women, like we have to speak up for that. We can't just let it be like, oh, keep talking about these women and not saying that this is not the majority. That's important too, so that the kids will know that this is just what they want us to see. This is not reality. This is not what you should be following. So we have to make it our business to of course address it, but also show the other side. So that's all I was saying.
France. I went to Cannes.
Yes, it did
in
look. Oh
summer.
yeah, you did look very fun.
And yeah, and I met a lot of men with money there because the festival was a marketing and advertising and marketing
Right,
festival,
yeah,
and there's
yeah.
a lot of money in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the men I was meeting there were white and rich. And what was interesting was I was out there to network, but I found the networking really hard because it felt robotic. Like I got go up to them and try and force this convo. So for the first 3 days I was out there, I was feeling really frustrated and defeated because I was trying to network with these men and nothing was given. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to revert to what I know. Just put on tight dress, put the corset.
Oh no!
Oh, it worked.
Did it? No, but I'm saying like it's so annoying that it worked.
Yeah,
because it's like it's proving your point. It's like
yes,
I tried to do it, but
Girl,
now
let me
I
tell you
went.
what I did. So I was at one of these industry parties out in south of France, and I decided I'm going to play a little game with myself. I'm going to pick 5 men in the room whose shoes I genuinely like.
Yeah.
And obviously this is the advertising industry, so it's majority white people. And it's not my comfort zone to really talk to white people, but I had to challenge myself.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to pick 5 men whose shoes I genuinely like. And what I did was, okay, first guy, I see him standing next to another guy talking, and I noticed he's wearing Jordans, and I like the colorway. I went up to him, I was like, excuse me, I'm so sorry to interrupt this conversation. I just want to say I love your Jordans. Where did you get them from?
Oh, look at you.
Where did you get them from? And I'm doing shaking breast. I'm saying, where did you get your Jordans from? Because his eyes going, and then he's like, oh, I got it in Barcelona. Barcelona! Swear that's, I knew you got it somewhere outside of London because I'm from London. We don't have them kind of colorways in London. You must have great style. What do you do? Oh, I'm a CEO. Oh, you're a CEO. Oh, wow. I love that. What is your role involved you doing? And then they'll ask me, what do you do? Oh, I'm a Sunday Times #1 best-selling author. And then they were like, oh my God, really? Because they're not expecting that because they're seeing breast and
Right.
And then they're interested in talking. And then what they do is they're like, oh, you got LinkedIn? Yes, let's connect on LinkedIn. Then I send them a selfie as the DM on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So it's kind of flatting, but it's also genuinely like opening up room for a connection. And now a lot of those men, they're still keeping up with what I'm doing. They're still watching stories, you know. So at least when I go back to south of France,
you can.
At least I started somewhere. Some people might argue that, oh, as a woman, you shouldn't have to flirt with a man to be able to network. But I found if you really deeped how men are,
I agree.
They give women opportunities based on how attractive. I can't change that, so I'm gonna use it to my advantage.
Someone literally said that to my friend the other day. They was like, "You are not." They literally said to her, a guy who is like, he owns like a restaurant, whatever. He said, "I know girls that are not as attractive as you who use their looks. You're not using your looks enough to get what you need." And he goes, and you're smart, and you're not even using your exterior. He said you should be using it more. And he, in a weird, he didn't mean it in a.
It doesn't sound like a dig. I get exactly what he's
not
saying.
even in a slimy way. He was even like trying to say to her, like, you are losing out on opportunities because there's women out there that are using everything they've got that to get further, and they'll get further than you, because he was almost saying, like you're saying, men, that's what they.
I can verify that what he's saying, unfortunately, is true, because in my community of dominatrixes, what's fascinating and ironic about this lifestyle is looks, as in like being, stereotypically or societally pretty. That means nothing. The doms that I know who are the highest earners and most successful are very, I don't want to be rude. I'm going to say that they're not very memorable to look at.
Right, okay.
Like, they're just normal.
Okay.
You'd walk past them in the street and there's nothing that stands out about them, because it's all psychology. They understand a man's mind. There's doms that I know who are plus size, who have disabilities. They're pulling in money. And so it really has changed the way that I view what I used to think were the things that would make a man like me. I used to think, okay, like, maybe if I'm slimmer, I've got bigger boobs, or, you know, XYZ, I'll be more attractive. No, men just like when you make them feel challenged, and when you make them feel like they're not good enough, but in a way where you're not bringing them down necessarily, but making them feel like they need to really like earn that side of you, because they love the game.
Right.
I know everyone's saying, I don't want to play games. That's fine. Men like playing games. Even the men who say they don't like playing games, they like playing games.
A little bit
they
of it.
Love it.
I know.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Somebody just ran into a light pole outside my house, so if I start glitching out, that's why.
I do agree with what she's saying to an extent. It in business and in life, it is imperative to utilize all that you have. but to sexualize yourself to try to get somewhere, I mean, that's a form of prostitution. You know, you're selling your body in order to try to meet this goal, and that's typically, in most cases, is not going to put you in the position that you want to be in. You're now going to be in a position where this man is going to try to sexualize you because that's what you led with, and now you're going to be like, oh, don't. I hate it when men sexualize me. It really just sounds like she's spewing a lot of confusion. I get it, but it's not an effective route to go, especially if you're not fully aware of what it is that you're putting yourself into.
Go ahead, Cookie. You want to say something?
Yeah, no, I have a quick story. This wasn't planned for me. I kind of understand what she's saying though. I work in a predominantly male industry. I'm a coach. I work in athletics, right? And we had a coaches conference. The first day, I had my backpack on, I had my little puff, I had my joggers on, and a coaching shirt, and I was just walking around. And I didn't really get much interaction because that's what the coaching conference is for: interaction tips. But the next day, I had somewhere to go. So I actually had on some jeans. I had flip flops. My toes were exposed. They were nice painted. And I had on a regular female shirt. I sat on my coach's badge and I still had my backpack. But I had a little bit of face stuff on. But there were so many more interactions the next day. Like I'm not a bum. I know I'm not ugly. But just the fact that my jeans were like form fitting and my shirt was form fitting and they could see the shape instead of me looking like what I did the day before. There was so much more. Hi, can you come take a look at this turf? Come to do this. Come look at that. Let's get a massage. So I mean, I kind of get it. Men are visual creatures, though, but to use it in a what's the word I'm looking for? Malicious way. That was accidental for me. From what it sounded like, she did a social experiment. I did not. But I did notice that men do pay more attention to you the better you look. Especially, so now, when I go to coaches meetings, if I want to be heard, especially if we're talking about certain issues, I make sure I keep my work clothes and don't change into my coaching clothes, because you literally fucking disappear.
It's society. It's not just men. It's not just women. I mean, it's a fact. People treat thinner people better than they treat fatter people. They treat more attractive looking people than people that are attractive, challenged. So, it's just the way of the world, unfortunately. And it's like any other privilege. It's up to you if you're going to lean into it or not. It's just like white privilege. Some people participate in it and some people just happen to be white. It really just depends on how you choose to lean into said privilege. But I think that if people weren't buying, they couldn't sell. So there's that.
Go ahead, Chanel, Inc. Shamona.
I mean, I look at it. It's like a resource. It's like I don't know. It's just valuable. It's no different from money. People get away. I mean, pretty privilege is a thing. Um, it's even research that suggests people who are attractive get away with more things. They get, there's an advantage to being attractive. That's men and women alike, not just a woman thing. Of course, women, you are the people who use it to their advantage more often, because men are very visual, but this is not anything new. But again, you have people who will use it to be malicious, and you have people who will use it just in a grateful manner, I guess, just to, I don't know. But yeah. Men with money is equal to a woman who's attractive.
All right. We'll play this last clip and then we'll go ahead and react to it.
like I've learned to love the game, because if you want to date men, you have to also recognize that you're opting into a game.
I saw you post something on your story the other day, and it was about the word prostitution getting thrown around.
Are
And
you
me
playing it?
myself, I would say, from my knowledge, I would say when there's any sort of like monetary exchange for sex, whether that's bags, holidays, whatever, I would say that's a form of prostitution. You was basically saying no, you don't agree with that, or what was you saying? What's your stance on that?
So, first of all, the word prostitution, for those who may need clarity, is sex work.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue I take with the word prostitution is oftentimes people use the word prostitution in a negatively tinged way,
Okay.
almost like to chastise a woman. I get called a prostitute for saying that I wouldn't date a man who can't take care of me, let alone actually engaging in
I get what you mean.
activities
Okay.
where I'm being paid. But what's really interesting about this conversation I was having regarding prostitution was this came off the back of me saying that the thing people don't want to recognize is, and this is going to be very controversial to say, but marriage also is sex work, because a lot of women, what they're doing is, and this is controversial to say,
Go on,
because
I'm gonna hear this. Let's hear this.
in your definition where you said earlier about prostitution, where you know, like you sleep with a man, you get money, or you hang out with him, you get money. Why I say marriage is prostitution is because what happens is women engage in marriage from a place where, okay, he's gonna take care of you financially, and there's a home for you both to live in. And what you are doing is you're fulfilling a role. So you're going to either be some sort of like homemaker, homekeeper, you're raising and rearing the kids, and you are partnering with him and sleeping with him in the hopes that the trade-off will be that you get validation, love, and upkeep. And the man understands and believes that if he continues to fulfill that role for you, then the arrangement works, because marriage is an arrangement. Now, why I say it's prostitution is because whilst it's not necessarily on the surface, you're fucking for a transactional exchange, there's something that you're fucking for.
But then there's the basis of a relationship. I guess the reason why prostitution is because it's just it's sexual, it's nothing but sex. So you get the sex, you go. Whereas a marriage, to even get to the marriage, there would have been a build of a relationship, friendship, gone through a few things, families involved. Maybe you might even have kids now. So I think that's why people would be the
people
difference.
wouldn't understand that. And why I'm fascinated by that is because what people really miss out on in that conversation and in their opposition to the idea of marriage being a form of sex work is, once you stop being able to render that service to the man, he leaves you. So for example, I've seen countless situations where the woman has gained weight after having children, and the man has decided he doesn't want to be with her anymore because either her libido has lowered, so she's no longer interested in having sex. She doesn't feel good about herself. She doesn't want to have sex. So that man moves on. Or the woman becomes disabled or becomes sick and needs long-term care from her husband. And he leaves because he can't be asked and he doesn't want to do that, and he can't have sex with her anymore. So what I've observed is that once men stop seeing you as the person that can fulfill that transactional need that they want from you, their energy switches up very quickly.
Do you think that's the case majority of the times? So they,
unfortunately, majority.
You think so?
I won't say every single
because
man,
do you not
but
feel
majority.
like when you get because I can't speak because I'm not married, and I do feel like marriages
neither.
get a bit stale. I guess what I've heard they do, and like from research and that stuff. So I guess I get what you're saying, but then I can't remember what I was going to say now. About what was he saying?
When I was saying that the men leave when they can't have their needs
No,
met.
I'm saying, do you not feel that after a while that some men just stay anyway? Even if it's because
most men just stay because it's easier
convenient
to stay than to leave.
Yeah, so at least they still stay. So at least they're not going then.
The only times a man is going to leave a marriage is if he's already patterned the replacement. Men, if a man has not found your replacement, he's happy to just stay and just
make it happen, make it work.
We've got lots of our names together on joint accounts. It's long to leave. Once he's found a replacement, suddenly he's ready to be the one that even initiate the breakup. A man is rarely ever going to tell you, you know what, let's end this. They're happy to co-spy and drag you along until you're ready to end it. And this is why I'm very radical in my work. A lot of people will not like my approach or they might not like my lifestyle, but genuinely, like, I'm having the best experiences with men that I've ever had.
Really?
As opposed to when I used to be because I used to be I started from pick me, and then I evolved into what I am now, where I've learned, okay, pick me don't work. It just doesn't work.
Okay.
So now I'm in a place where I date very selfishly, and like there's men who will give me attention, and just from the onset, I'm not going to give the attention back. I can just tell from the environment we've met in, you're not the guy for me. And that's okay. Like, look, you're probably spending all your money on your drip, and I love that for you. You can't afford to do anything for me. Like the things that I would require as a woman, you can't.
There was a comment that was highlighted, says that marriage is sex work argument really pisses me off. If y'all want to sell your box, sell it, bro. But please stop blurring the lines with the effery, because you have never seen a successful marriage in your lifetime. Every day, women are getting harder to defend. What you got on this, Chanel? It's Coco. Oh, you're on mute, so you know.
Mm.
It's at the bottom of the screen right there. Hey, you can't do it. I mean, hold on.
And Don Julio's kicking our ass, JR. That Don Julio.
It's like a little microphone.
Yeah, like a little blurred line. It's frozen. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Sham Monet.
Okay, so there are a lot of things I made notes, right? We'll start from the back and then go up. I do agree that men do stay in relationships they're not happy in, right? But I also agree that I disagree. I think that if you're in a healthy relationship and you're in love, I don't think men are just leaving their wives. I think they try to work it out. They try to stick in there. I don't think that because she gains weight. I've seen healthy relationships, like old girl said, and the woman is big, he in love, they doing it together, they don't even care. It's just, I see a lot of that. I'm from Alabama, where love is real. These people have been married for years and they continue to be married. So I just see something very different than that. Now, as far as arranged marriages, maybe that is a little transactional, and I'm not gonna get into it because you do what you do, that's your culture. But having sex, and this goes back to sex, right? Prostitution. And this is why I think that women should close their legs. I do not believe, you're right, prostitution, when you do something for exchange of something, that is, that's giving off transaction, which is kind of like prostitution, even though prostitutes just go in and do it. And I actually think they have higher standards, because at least that prostitute is telling you, you ain't gonna get my time in my vagina for free. Some of y'all got men calling you once a month, popping in, popping out, and y'all just like, okay, here you go, free cookie. I'm not getting nothing, no love, no hug. He ain't even spending the night. So in that case, that prostitute has a higher value on her vagina than you do, which goes back to what we were talking about before. Just close your legs. Stop just freely having intercourse with these men who are not even willing to commit to you. And I'm talking to myself too. To commit to you, provide you absolutely no security, because what are you getting out of? You're not getting anything out of that, because guess what? Every time you go with another man, it's devaluing you. Absolutely, and you're getting nothing out of it. Half of y'all even getting a happy ending out of it. More than half of you, it's like 8%, right? So what is
More study?
It's even more reason to what we were talking about before, that you should close your legs. And as far as another thing brought up, and I think all of these situations that we've been talking about, every single scenario brings me back to the very first one with DG and Holly. Because one of the things that stands out to me is the chase, right? Is it possible that Holly was a chase? Like, she's like a catch. And maybe he caught it and now he's got it and now I'm a little bored of it. It's a little bit too much like a hold down, you know what I'm saying? So when I say hold, HOLD, like he's held, it's like it's not the same as it was before. Like, so I mean that's a possibility too. I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna stop. That's my input.
think that last part, a lot of people are invested in the chase, but not the catch. So absolutely right about that. Um, but I just always just revert back to the thought that women like these are the exception and not the rule. Um, and we just have to remember that, because when it comes to gender relations and us being able to relate to each other, just remind yourself in real life the people and how they carry themselves, and the people that you choose to be around, the people that you choose to have in your inner circle, the people that you choose to trust, to access you intimately, whether we're talking about friendships or relationships, and let the rest of this internet shit go. I have to remind myself all the time, because it's very discouraging to watch things like this from men and women, and keep a positive outlook on the opposite sex. It really is. So if you're not careful, it can seep into yourself, into your conscious, and you're really thinking like, oh, this is what's happening out there. um but as it pertains to marriage, I think that marriage is an exchange, and there's no robbery in exchange. I think if those two people signed up for something, and they both are aware of what they signed up for. We talk about the women all the time who want a financially healthy or stable partner, but we don't talk about the men that want trophy wives. I think let the men that want the trophy wives and the women that want finances find each other, and that there's no robbery in that. They are both signing up for something, and hopefully they're both getting it. And for the rest of the people that are signing up for more noble things in marriage, you guys find each other. And then I'm not judging anybody on either end. I'm just saying, just be careful and be mindful of the compatibility. Like, when are we gonna start going to like counseling before we get married? We always want to do it after. Fit so you could kind of gauge where people are at before you marry them. Hey, what are your expectations in this marriage from me? Why do you want to marry me? Why aren't we asking these questions? Because if she's saying that she's marrying you because she wants to maintain a certain lifestyle, you may think she's marrying you because you make her laugh. I don't know. But y'all need to get on the same page, because clearly there's two people getting into these relationships, and y'all have different agendas. And that's where the problem is.
I wanted to piggyback on that because we did do that. When we got married, we did the marriage counseling because we wanted to have a certain uh, pastor do the ceremony, and that was one of his terms of doing the ceremony, was we had to complete a certain amount of hours of relationship counseling. And some of what we did in that are things that you can actually just pull up. There are questionnaires that you can pull up online. Like, what are the top 5, 10 things that are important to you in a relationship? What are the top 5? Is there anything different in a relationship in your mind than from a marriage? What is the difference of commitment level? What is the difference of, is there a difference of output? Is there a difference of expectations? These are like legit questions that if you're really serious about a person, you go ahead and like you answer these questionnaires. It sounds kind of weird, but it helps. It really helps. Some of the most basic questions that you would never thought to ask each other or never thought of how to ask each other get answered. So yeah, do like everything else in life, put the work in. Like if you were playing basketball, you practice your jump shot, you practice your layup, hitting it off the box at the right angle so it'll go in the basket. Practice communication, practice consistency, be authentically yourself. I think a problem is there are a lot of men and women who are entering relationships with their representative, and it makes it hard to trust somebody when you know you're not being yourself. Yeah, so that's be your truest self. Go get help. Do the research. Ask them questions. Ask a lot of questions. Do you think I should be taking the trash out all the time? If I'm at work all day and the trash is in the house, stinking up the house, are you really going to let it stink up the house because it's my job to take it outside? Or are you going to be the kind of person that's going to say, I can't let this crap stink out the house and don't take it outside? Like, these are basic questions people never think about. And then when it goes down, you're highly irritated at this person for not taking the trash out. Like, but you never had that conversation. That's all.
I would like to piggyback off of what DJ said, and me and he we kind of poke fun at it, but even just going back to the having a sugar daddy, or having a trophy wife, or you playing the role as a hoe. If whatever it is that you choose, you have to be aware of what comes with it, and once you're aware of it, you have to be willing to accept it. So if you're not willing to put in the work to have a noble relationship, if you solely want a trophy wife that brings nothing to the table aside from that, then you can't complain about her not bringing nothing else to the table. If you solely want a man that's going to provide just financially, then you can't complain about this man not bringing anything else to the table. If you want to lead with your money, then you have to be okay with women treating you that way. If you only want to lead with your pussy, then you have to be okay with men treating you that way. That it just comes a part of it. And I think the issue is that people are choosing these roles and not wanting to take on or accept the repercussions that come with it. So I think that if we get to the to being blunt enough of telling people this, then I think that we can knock out a lot of the confusion.
Go ahead, Cookie.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of facades and fakeness that comes into even choosing a role. Because when you're how do I explain this without saying that we overthinking this again? Like, I don't understand why people can't just get to know people, have their boundaries set, and develop relationships with people that they care about without there being some kind of label to it other than I like this person, you know, and I need this person, whether it's financial, whether it's sex, whether it's oh she pretty and I can take her to all the galas. Who cares? I just think that we should make sure that the foundation of your relationship is love. Your qualifications of what you love is nobody's business. I just don't believe that. If your wife absolutely has to give head every day, that is none of our business. You know what I mean? Like if your husband needs to buy you a bag a month and you're making sure he gets those kind of situations, that's none of our business. So I think if we get down to the back to the foundation of what love and marriage actually should be, then all the facades will disappear on their own. And this just goes back to people minding their own damn business. And it's hard to do with all the social media out there and people, you know, but that's where parenting comes in. But me being at my age, my algorithm is filled with comedy. So I'm not I've made sure my algorithm I wake up when it's time to check my social media. It's something that's going to make me laugh. So I mean, I don't know. I guess I sit here and I listen and they're like, "Oh, the role of this and the role of that." If somebody found somebody that wanted a trophy wife and this woman is okay with being a trophy wife, oh good for them. Like, I don't know. Over dissecting things can also sometimes become more tedious than just doing what comes natural to being a human being. That's all I'm saying.
All right, go ahead, brother Hank.
Well, a lot was said, I guess, in that clip calling marriage prostitute. I would, damn, that's funny. I wouldn't consider marriage prostitution. Maybe dating, I could see that under the umbrella of prostitution, but not marriage. The reason why I say probably dating is because of, if I take a woman out, and I expect to get some live action after the date, then yeah, I'm pretty much paying for the ass. Pretty much, just a dinner was just a formality. I should have just put whatever I pay for the dinner on the goddamn nightstand and keep it moving. Now I could see where that could be labeled, like I said, prostitution, but marriage, no, because that's something totally different. Because it's at least for me, marriage is all about coming together as one on everything and all things. Everything and all things. My money is together with her money. It's no our money, her account, no, we're not doing that shit. It's just one pot with me. That's what it is. There's no secret account. She's not going on girls' trips. We're not doing all that other bullshit. We're not doing that. That's not what it. I don't understand. And like I was saying, I guess earlier, a lot of these things we should have found out before we got married. I shouldn't be just now learning a lot of shit about this woman prior to marriage. That's what I need to learn. I need to interrogate. I don't ask questions. I'm gonna interrogate. I'm gonna interrogate the woman who I find interesting in and who I believe in, who I'm going to bless with my last name. Because marriage, man, is the highest form of blessings that a man can bestow on a woman. The highest bestow a woman can bless on a man is a child. And if I'm going to bless you with something that no other woman, a lot of women don't have, who can't obtain, who can't even fathom or can't keep together, man, that's a blessing. But like the same thing, you will bless on me with a child that a lot of women don't have, especially ones with their husbands. So I'm gonna leave it there.
I want to remind people too that nobody really talks about what marriage was originally, how it was originally structured. Women were considered property at one point in a marriage. And so when we talk about, I don't agree that prostitution is in there, but I also don't agree that men were masters or slave owners. It really is just about perspective and what you agree to sign up for. That's the bottom line. It could be spun both ways.
If even with modern day standards, I think, and especially with what it is that women still want and desire, when you become husband and wife, your wife is your property. I mean, I know it may sound harsh, but you are now. It is my duty to protect, to provide, to do all of these things to make sure that you are good, that you're healthy. If you have a plant, right? Let's say we can compare marriage to a plant. If you have a plant, this plant is your property or it's on your property. So you have to do your due diligence to water this plant, ensure that it gets its proper nutrients, sun. It is your duty to make sure that it happens. And if you don't, and it falls, or if it ceases, then the reason why it ceased is because you failed to take care of your property, of what's yours. So I think that the term, I understand how the term can be triggering, but for a man, that's just what it is. It's my obligation as a husband. So if you have my name, my last name, and we signed the papers, we got paperwork on all of this, then yeah, you're my property. And I would say even the wife, the husband is the wife's property. It's a mutual thing. So I don't understand. I understand why these terms such as property and submission, and I get it why it's all triggering in this day and age, but it's like, man, this is the harsh reality of it. This is what it is.
Go ahead, King. I seen King put your head down when he said the property. What were your thoughts about it?
Can I say something before King goes? Via, say it with your chest. Whether you right or wrong, say it with your goddamn chest, dog. Don't kowtow.
Say it with your chest, because I'm gonna say it with mine. That's a fact.
Right. So I will say this. I was thrown off by the idea of property. It's hard for me to imagine anything that has breath as being a possession. I am charged with making sure that my kids are okay, but they are not my property. They are my responsibility. I'm responsible for my wife's well-being because she chose to trust me. I have to honor that trust, and that trust comes with doing everything to make sure that my actions don't leave her mind wondering, that my physical, intimate interactions don't leave her pH balance off. It is not just protecting her in the physical world on the happenstance that some idiot thinks that our home is worth testing. The results of that type of test are something that are understood without being said. So it's talk about so it was just the word property that threw me off. Now, for the young lady that, and I'm calling her young lady because I just want to use that description. I think was a clickbait. I think sometimes you scrape the bottom of the barrel and the thing that you choose to highlight is whatever looks the most egregious. She is an egregious example of who hurt you. There is somebody in her history that did not honor the role of being an example. And this is the result of that. Her logic shows that she needs hugs and therapy. And I wouldn't even try to fix her. I would simply pray to whatever God and let God, who's an expert, do that work. That's all I can say about what she said.
I just want to rebuttal to what Viz said, because he spoke to what I said. It's not that it's triggering, Viz. It's more like you kind of checked out. Because as a Black man who has ancestors that were enslaved, I think that there's nobody better to understand how egregious calling someone else property truly is. And so I think that we have to be mindful when we're using these words, because words mean things. So when we call somebody property, a human being, yeah, we have a problem with that. Just like you had a problem with that and your ancestors had a problem with that. I don't think anybody wants to be considered property. Now, I do understand that in your mind, you're romanticizing the sentiment of that, but you also have to consider how it's coming off and what that word actually means.
I think if it comes off in a way that it appears negatively, then I think that that's based off of your own experiences. Because if your husband is taking care of you in every way, shape, or form, then for him to say that this is my wife, she's mine, like, hell yeah, I'm yours, daddy, whatever you call him, husband. It's I don't understand how, and I get the analogy of slavery and all that, but we're not slaves right now. You willingly went into an agreement with this man or woman, and to essentially say that I'm yours, you're mine until the end of days, then that's what it is. So I get it, but I don't understand the concept of trying to demonize it when it can be something that's so beautiful.
All right, so the only it's really contextually, it's just the definition of what property is. Like if we just literally go and look up the definition of property, it really is a 99.9999% of the time is referred to as something that is lifeless, right? Other with the exception of a house pet, you know what I'm saying? So like other than your dog, your cat, everything else is a physical possession. It's a material item, something that you bought and paid for. It's that cat. You know what I'm saying? It's so like, yeah, it's not the trigger for anybody. We just going off of definitions in English. In order to have clarity, we got to have some base. And the base of property again is ownership. I don't even own my kids, and I made them. I'm responsible for my kids. I cannot buy, sell, or trade my kids.
Let's be for real though. Some of these men out here did pay for the cat.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm realistically, you are paying for it. You're paying for it with the wedding. You're paying for it with the investment, the time, the effort.
I thought the dads paid for the wedding. Am I from a different generation or economic status?
I think we are.
That's here and there. The Oxford definition.
Etiquette, yes.
The definition for property.
Single parent home, man. How do they paying? How they paying for the weddings? They come from single parent homes and their mama raised. They not paying for no weddings.
So we're talking about, because my parents passed away, but he definitely could still pay for it. But my thing is, so we're talking about the masses.
We got to talk about the majority.
Okay.
The majority, that's not happening.
So the definition for property is a thing or things belonging to someone, possessions collectively, building or buildings, the right to possession, and attribute quality or characteristics. One of the things that you say in your vows on your wedding day is literally that you belong to this other person. Is that you're literally giving yourself to this other person.
Yeah, but they're not property. That's it. So I think it's just the word. We're not saying that you guys can't.
Right. I get that, but that's my pushback is that just because the word is triggering to you doesn't take away from what it actually is.
No, I think you're taking away from what it actually is and making it what you want it to be. We're just saying, I don't know why you're so stern on using the word property when you can say it any other way. I don't even know if you know what 3/5 compromise was. They wanted to use slave, and they used a property, but they couldn't count them as people. It's because they were known as property. So you can't just take a word and make it what you want. Now
are you a slave?
Let me finish this. It's the word. It was just used during slavery.
Right, but we're not in slavery though.
Slavery didn't even make up the word.
So do you believe? Do you guys believe that marriage is slavery?
Hold on, Viz. Let her finish, Viz. Just let her finish, then you go ahead and rebuttal.
We're just using slavery in it as an example. It's just not take away the word. Property was there way before slavery was even involved. Okay, so you can't change a word to. Okay, first and foremost, I understand what you're saying. And I absolutely love that you love your marriage and your woman the way that you do. But you can't change the word from what it is to what it is that you want it to be. I get what you're saying. I'm taking no offense to it. But again, you can't redefine the word to make it.
I'm not redefining the word though.
You are based off the context.
The pushback that y'all are giving me. The pushback that y'all are giving me is literally being tied back to slavery. So my question is, do you guys believe that marriage is slavery?
No,
I think King tied it back to Oxford Dictionary.
I read the definition from Oxford Dictionary.
I don't think that
I'm
marriage
just being
is slavery.
mediator. I don't care either way.
And I do believe that
I don't care.
you make a vow to each other and you guys have this bond with each other and you work together. I'm not reducing it to marriage, right? I'm just saying that could be a better, you know what I'm saying? You know, just a better word.
It could be a
So let me ask you this: do y'all get offended when your employees say "my workers"? Do y'all get offended by that too? Because guess what? They used to use that during the slave time. My workers, not just
Where?
my property. They're my workers. They used to call them my workers.
Where we working?
They
Where
used
they
to say
talking
that
us
too.
something?
Well, you're working. So what's the word? What's the word?
Thing about property, because they tied this thing back to slavery as far as the word property. They used to call them my workers too. So y'all get offended when your employer calls you my workers? Probably not. Y'all accept that, but y'all don't want to accept my man when he says property. We don't get offended about nothing.
When you're saying a worker,
Shimon, hold on. Hold your horse.
okay, so I'm about to go because this is shenanigans that don't have.
No,
I mean, a different
DJ gave you a new name. No. DJ gave you a new name. Your new name is Shimon.
You guys
I
have a
apologize if I said your name wrong.
No, you got it right. Her name's Shimon.
How was your name said, Queen? I'm sorry.
Oh, you okay? Yeah,
Shimon.
I'm talking.
Nah, but I want to
Shimon.
say your name correctly.
It's Shan Monet.
It's Shimon.
Shay Monet, beautiful. Got
Yeah,
it.
Shay Monet.
I have time.
Call her Shimon. Her mama called her Shimon. I'm gonna call her Shimon. But back to it.
Like King Flu. Sorry, go ahead.
We equate the thing to slavery. So my workers, do we get offended by it? No, we don't get offended by that. We only get offended when we talk about another person, is when we get offended by the word property. Because please believe, when y'all out here trying to buy property, y'all don't take offense to that. We don't have flashback to slavery then. It's only when we talk about something else or some other person. Some of y'all call your animals property, but y'all love your animals more than some of y'all love your goddamn kids. But y'all don't have no problem calling them your property. We need to stop this. So, Viz, I don't have no problem with what you're saying about my wife is my property, and she knows it. But guess what? To my wife, I'm her property. And I don't have no problem with it. I don't feel like she's going to all of a sudden give me 20 lashes when I get out of line or when I don't take the trash out or cut the goddamn grass. I don't feel that way. I don't take it that way. I don't look at it that way. I'm not stuck in the days of slavery. Them days are long gone. I'm glad I never had to deal with them. So thank God for all of us.
So
I try to use the word assets, but
that's property though.
I'm not saying it's not. I told you I didn't care either way. Don't drag me in on the.
Yeah. No, I get it. I'm just saying it's I get it. I get it. The term is triggering. That's just what it is at the end of the day. The term is triggering. But at the core of it, if you are in a marriage, you are literally each other's property.
Now, in all fairness, I'm going to sit here and tell you guys, my wife is laughing and agreeing with the fellas. She's like, I think you my property. So I'm just going to say it is. There's context to how some people receive the same words. She's laughing at the things you guys are saying. In theory, I guess the word property is triggering because of the connotation of what it normally means the mass majority of the times. When we think of the word property, we think of things we have ownership of, right? Those are things where we have a controlling interest in, like, it's the connotations and how it's most frequently used that most people jump to immediately. All right. So I guess the other side of the coin is if somebody has a healthy situation, they go to that first.
All right, let's get DJ in there, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Get DJ.
I just want to go to the facts and history, right? There was something called coverture back in the day where women were actually considered property in their marriage. I just want to go over this really quickly. So there was a common law doctrine of coverture held that a married woman was her legal identity was absorbed by her husband. This meant that a married woman could not own property, enter into contracts, or earn a salary. In 1839, the states in the United States enacted Married Women's Property Acts that gave women more economic rights, and they were no longer considered property. And I think just us as a community, I think it's a fair assessment to say none of us want to be considered property, because if a white man came to you and said, hey, black man, I give you an opportunity to be in this country, I'm giving you career, I'm giving you access to this and that, you are still considered property because of the things that the resources that I'm extending to you, so you are still considered property. Would you have a problem with that? Now the face is screwed up.
A white man couldn't walk up to me and say that, because I was born in this country. A white man didn't bring me to
So
this
were
country.
we.
It's completely different from you making a conscious decision to sign a contract and say vows before God, saying that you're giving yourself to this person. That's something completely different. That's not even on the same
That's
scale.
not what she did. That's not what a marriage is. She didn't sign a paperwork that said that she is your property, and the law states that. That's been illegal since 1839, sir.
Yeah, but we
And
know what that means. If a white man sit there and say, you're my property, compared to your husband sit there and say, you belong to me.
No fun when
You're
a
my
rabbit
property.
has the
There's a
gun.
big
When
difference.
somebody tells y'all
There's
to
a
be submissive and be property, y'all don't like it. So why would you want that for any other human being?
I
so
have no problem
white
with
man
being
telling you that? Is a white man telling you that? Then it's because you got a white husband. That's why a white man telling you that. I
If
got a
you
black
want to
wife.
own a woman,
And
then a man should be
I got a black
a
wife,
man
and
that's
she's
extending
my property.
resources
I
to you
own her.
should be able to own you. And I'm not single for the chat.
Only person on me is my
Since y'all
wife.
like to use that.
One person on me is my wife, and I own my wife. My wife
Can
on
I
me. We
say
own each
something
other.
to the lightweight?
Yeah, go ahead, Cookie.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Maybe it's just me, but if my man or husband is like, "Hey, that's my wife," and he's going off about whatever he going off, I'm gonna be like, and I'm gonna just sit there and shut up, because whatever, long as he ain't calling me a bitch and a whore or something crazy like that. But if he's like, "That's my property, that's my wife," as long as she's treating me as such, I don't really care. Say what you
it,
want, King.
even the term "my wife" or "my husband" is a possessive term.
It's a possessive term for sure.
So
That's why I've been in the middle.
to use the analogy of some random white man walking up to me saying, "Oh, well, I gave you this and I gave you that," when they haven't gave me shit. That doesn't even make sense. I don't even understand how that could even be a pushback to this conversation of two people making a conscious decision, giving vows, and signing a legally binding contract. That is, I don't even know how that's comparable.
Yeah.
I think the message to take away from is just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's the bottom line for me. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. You don't want to be treated like property, or a slave or whatever, then just move accordingly and know that words do matter to people.
Yeah, but DJ, I don't think most married people are treating their spouses like a slave.
I understand that,
I don't
but
think that.
all
I
right,
don't
let
think
me
that's the
ask you
case.
this:
I'm not treating. Oh, ma'am. Let me finish. I don't treat my wife like a slave.
you
She's
just
not my slave.
interjected
She's
when I
my.
was talking, but okay, I'm gonna
Ma'am,
let
you
you
was
finish.
finished.
I
You
wasn't
was finished,
finished.
man.
You just
Wait,
Hold on,
interjected.
y'all. Hold on.
I wasn't,
My bad.
sir,
I said my
sir,
bad.
sir.
Go ahead. I said go ahead and finish, man.
I know
Go
it
ahead. My
got. I
bad.
know the topic has you a little emotional, but I was talking and you interjected, and I allowed it gracefully.
All right, DJ. Like he said, he apologized and said, "You go ahead."
All I was saying is that treating people the way you want to be treated is just the bottom line. And I do understand what you're saying, Hank. People are not actually treating each other like slaves. But me personally, I think word and verbiage is so important, because there are some people out here hearing this message and taking it literal. Maybe you are saying my wife is my property, but the sentiment behind it in your mind is different. Some people are taking that literally. And I think that's where we get into kind of a more dangerous territory. I digress.
Go ahead. Hank.
I just want. I wanted her plane to land because I don't want to be accused of interrupting the conversation. So
I said I
appreciate
digress.
that. I got you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. So as far as property, if somebody's that slow and doesn't understand when a man or a woman says that, then you need not even have a conversation with that individual. If they thinking, I'm saying it to the point of I'm out there cracking the whip, women go in that goddamn kitchen. Women go in there and clean my clothes. No, it's not even like that. She's my wife because I own her. She has my last name. I blessed her. So she belongs to me. I belong to her. Nobody would even say, I sit there and say, that's my wife. Nobody said, oh man, he's an old slave driver. No, it's nothing like that. And for individuals who think like that, their mindset's always messed up. I need to cut off the conversation right then and there. That's not what it is. So I don't think Viz is saying it like that. I don't think. Now I could be wrong. Viz may be a slave driver out in these pieces. I don't know. He's a former man whore such as myself. He may be that guy, but I don't think he is. And I don't think most men are like that or most women are like that.
Yeah, no, not at all, man. I just think that we have demonized and villainized the basic structures of relationships and marriages due to people being hurt and not being able to heal from past instances. Nothing that I do personally in life correlates back to slavery. I never experienced slavery, so my verbiage in no way, shape, or form impacts that in any way. So when I say that my wife is my property, I say that because, just as Hink said, I'm her property. We're in this together. When two becomes as one, when that happens, we are each other. We move as one unit. So and if I'm the leader of the household, then you got to do what you got to do in order to protect and cherish and grow and nurture your property.
I just want to say this, man. The one thing that I've learned, and I learned at a later age, is how complicated communication can be, and including words. I understand both sides. I can listen to Hink and Viz and know what their intent are, but I think it is important, and it may not be exactly what the person you're with. You know, they may look at it and understand what you mean by it, and they're perfectly fine with it. But there are some people, as Viz hinted, it may be trauma related, right? There's this whole thing where women often feel like a man is trying to control her, and then it may be a reason as to why she feels that way. And then you could just keep dialing it back, and then you can get to the core root. A lot of the times we don't get to the root of the problem. We just look at people like they're crazy. But there's a reason why people form who they are and who you see like right in front of you. So I think that as long as y'all got an understanding of what it means, because I'm pretty sure if you date a woman and you mention something about property, she's going to probably say something and speak up early on, or it's going to be something that slips out and there's going to be some type of disagreement, or, you know, like, what do you mean? I'm not your property. Like, you're going to already see signs that she doesn't want that level of control. I'm pretty sure when Hink vetted his wife, that she was on his program, and that's perfectly fine. Like, whatever somebody does in their household, let them be. We can't change folks. We can't change folks' minds and how they think and what words they think is negative. We can only just speak to how we do, and then if they may see it right then and there, or they may see it at a later date as far as how it applies to their household, or they may be like, you know, I never looked at it like that. Maybe being considered property is not a bad thing, or they may always tie it back to slavery. I use an example of when I was at a previous job, and one of the old folks didn't like the word NIGGA being said in front of him, you know, and it's something that's common, but he set the record straight, like, don't use that word around me. And again, that's probably tied to his upbringing and what he may have to go through. But we can't speak to that man's experience. So somebody may say, hey, people use the word all the time, OG, but what's the problem? Like, he meant what he said. And you know how old folks are, they don't play. When they say something, I had no doubt in my mind that he was gonna probably chin check somebody in there and lose it all. They said that word in front of him. Ain't nobody play around with him either. But I did want to speak to something about the whole vows things. One of the things that I look at is that I don't think people really understand what vows really mean, and include myself. I didn't know the severity of it. So when you take this vow, it is something serious, and I think a lot of people, some people understand it and they don't want to commit to it because they are afraid of commitment. They know what comes with it. Then there's others that take it and then they F up and not realize that, oh man, I didn't really understand what it was. It's going to probably take you being around some like-minded people or moving in a direction that you want to be in, or you see a marriage that you can model where you can fully understand. But I just pulled up a little something that says marriage vows represent a commitment between two people of love, honor, and support each other through all of life's challenges. They serve as a public promise to stay loyal and dedicated, emphasizing trust, partnership, and mutual respect. I know you like that word partnership, Hank. Um, the vows are meant to outline the responsibilities each person accepts in a relationship, ensuring both parties understand their role in the building a lasting, meaningful union. Traditionally, they highlight the idea of enduring love despite the ups and downs of life, often ending with the famous phrase, "till death do us part." And so when Chanel was mentioning early on and with that example, and I'm just like, well, maybe they didn't know how to take these vows serious, because even if you brought to marry early, if you were raised or you was able to tie in that this is a commitment for life, then I think that you would go into marriage with a certain type of seriousness to it. So I think that we have to understand like what commitment really is. And I do think that if people demand commitment on both sides, right? Because I mean, a woman can do bad things too out of commitment. She can, when she's not in his presence, she can be flirting at work or responding to DMs with smiley faces. They're just doing little things, right? So I think that if people understand what commitment really is and they tie it back into something, I honestly believe, and I learned this just by being on these panels, that somebody asked me, like, whenever you out doing wrong, like what's holding you accountable? Because if you're not holding yourself accountable, are you tying it up to something that's higher, that's above you to keep you in check? Otherwise, you're gonna be out here reckless. So I think that there's a lot of things, a lot of information out here, even on these panels. We may not agree with each other, but I think different minds coming together to bounce off these ideas and perspectives and experiences, I think is very valuable. So I value each and every last one of you guys' opinions, even if I don't agree. I just kind of take what I need, and I think it's all beneficial. We all just trying to get it right at the end of the day. We all don't have that. I don't think there's no right or wrong answers, because we're gonna lean on to whatever it is. And if it's working for you and you okay with passing away, living a quality, if you say you live the quality of life, then that's fine. But I want to make sure I live a quality of life that's fulfilling to me. And I'm gonna keep welcoming people's perspectives and opinions and ideas, and seeing if I can just add to the pot. Data is important, information is important, so let's keep on rocking out. Let me get to these last super chats. We're going to get up out of here. Into the Black Dragon, $2 says influence is a mindset / idea that is not your own. Scorched Earth, 824, $5 or less. Married, why have sex even with condom on? It can break. If you self-pleasure yourself, it's still sex, ? If you are a believer, it's still a sin. Just saying. Advanced Perception, $2 says, what is the definition of dowry? I'm just saying. Angela Swift, 499, Sunday offering. Y'all pass the Sunday collection plate. We all property of God. And lastly, $5. Anytime a woman uses slavery to argue against anything involving marriage, that is an excuse. Stop it. Every man is not Albert Johnson, aka Mr. Thank everybody that has contributed thus far. Much love to the panel and y'all perspectives. Y'all enjoy y'all Sunday. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're catching this on the replay, also hit the like button. And we are out. Thank you, guys.